Welcome back to another installment of Something to Think About. Now, those of you who've been paying attention know that I'm pretty big on perspective. Perspective is huge, people, especially in relationships. I know you guys that are paying attention, you've heard me talk about perspective at some point. Not everybody watching this is going to be familiar with the whole series that I have going on, Something to Think About, but the first one we did was vlog number 17. We talked about friends and cell phones. Next one was vlog number 29. We talked about science versus God. So this is installment number 3. And pretty much the goal with these Something to Think About vlogs is to present at least one thing to you guys that you previously didn't already know. In this installment, we're going to talk about a little thing called the geologic column. Yes, some of you are probably like, what the heck is that? And I've already accomplished that one thing that you didn't already know about. But trust me, every single one of you, in some shape or form, know about the geologic column. You probably just didn't hear it called that term. Alright, what is the geologic column? The geologic column is a theory that the Earth is divided up into layers, and each layer in the Earth's crust represents a few million years. Each layer has its own little name, like, you have the Triassic period, you have the Jurassic period, which is where the movie Jurassic Park gets its title from. Some of you guys are probably thinking, hold on, sWooZie, hold on. You've told us plenty of times you only cover God, gaming, and girls on your video blogs, and this geologic column don't sound like none of those. Don't worry, we're gonna touch on the God thing in a second. But the goal here is to make you think. I'm not gonna get all preachy on anybody, just follow me around the room with this one. Alright, you guys got your thinking caps on? Good. Alright, so there's this theory, and for a long time it was being taught as just a theory, but now it's pretty much being taught as fact. The same theory has been taught to a lot of us as fact from pretty much the time that we're all this high and then on. Now, if you grab any random elementary or middle school kid, ask them this one specific question, the majority of them are going to answer the same exact way. Now, when I record my video blogs, I leave all my windows open, and I typically get all the elementary school kids walking by. Oh, he's recording video blogs. Let's randomly grab one of them off the street. Let's ask them this particular question. Benjamin here. Hi, Benjamin.
I know.
Benjamin lives in my neighborhood. Benjamin, quick question for you. How old do you think the Earth is? What would you say?
1 billion years old.
1 billion years old. Why would you say 1 billion? Out of all the numbers out there, why would you say 1 billion?
Because the Earth is big.
The Earth is big, so ergo it's billions of years old. Okay, that's all I need. So yeah. See, when I was younger, if I read something in a textbook, then I didn't question it. Like, that was it. Done. Moving on. Alright, let's reference a few throwback video blogs real quick. Alright, in vlog number 29, I talk about science as a definition, something you can test, demonstrate, or observe. If my experiment is to show that sand can form layers, I take a jar, I throw some sand in it, throw some water, cover it, shake it up, boom. In a few seconds you can watch it form layers. That's science, by definition. You can observe that, you can test it, you can demonstrate it. That's what science is. Alright, so throwing back to vlog number 68 now, for those that remember the whole truth, lie thing, I asked the question, how can you tell the difference when you hear something that's true versus something that's false? Like, if I'm your boy and this dude comes along and he's telling you all kind of stuff, when he leaves, I'm not going to let you believe that that's a lie. I'm not going to stay quiet. I'm going to pull you aside and be like, hey dude, that's not true. That's what a true friend would do. You know, if we're playing DOA and me and you are in a room and some dude joins and he's like, hey, bass can punch faster than Kasumi, and you're like, really? Oh my gosh, I never knew that. If I stay quiet and keep letting you believe that Kasumi is slower than Bass, that's not a friend. I'm the guy that would tell you, hey, listen, that's wrong. So there's a few things that have always raised flags in my head, and I'm a thinker. You know, I never really thought about this stuff when I was in high school, but then, I get out and I start thinking back on some of the stuff they taught me, and I was just like, some of this stuff doesn't match up. I'm sitting in West Palm Beach last year, and I'm thinking about, this science stuff, and I tell my little cousin Omar, I'm like, Omar, let me see your science book real quick. So I open up, and the first 2 pages, I'm reading it, and it says, the Earth is between 1 and 100 million years old. And I'm just like, that's the best you can come up with? That doesn't sound very accurate. That's a huge gap right there. Does nobody else see a problem with that? And this is in the textbooks? Alright, so real quick, how many of you guys have ever had somebody owe you money? Alright, so about 2,500 of you saw last week's video blog when I was building that Mario sprite. Alright, I'm not just building that because I have excess amount of free time on my hands or I just got bored and wanted to make a video blog. I got an entertainment room that I'm about to start setting up, and that's gonna be like, you know, my centerpiece. So let's pretend that I'm building an entertainment room and I come to you and borrow $1 million. Okay, I want to buy a Wii, I want to buy a PS3, I want to buy a 70-inch HD TV, I want to buy the Bose speakers, new Mario Kart coming out, I want to buy all the games for all the systems. Okay, so I'm coming to you to borrow $1 million so I could buy all this stuff. Let's just pretend a month later, you know, I come to you and I'm like, oh, don't I owe you a few $1,000s? You're gonna be like, no, dude, you owe me $1 million. I'm like, oh yeah, I think you're right. That sounds about right. I do owe you about $1 million. Okay, so another month goes by and I come back to you and I'm just like, hey dude, I owe you a couple $100, don't I? Your response is gonna be, no dude, you owe me $1 million. Where's my money? Now if I keep coming back with these vague estimates, that's gonna tell you one of two things. It's either gonna tell you, one, I'm trying to avoid paying you, or two, whatever instrument or tools I'm using to calculate how much money I owe you is massively inaccurate. Either one of them is sketchy. Like, that's the term that we use in DOA a lot now. It's sketchy. Which brings us back now to this geologic column thing. You'll see this guy named James Hutton. He's the one that came up with the whole theory for the geologic column back in the 18th century. He made it pretty blatant that it was a theory. And the thing about it is, since he put the theory out, a lot of people just started jumping on it and adding on all kinds of different stuff, and they've been calling it science, and eventually it just got to the point to where they took the whole theory part and pushed it out of the way, and it's just like, here's what it is. Now the only problem with that is you know, it's not being presented as a theory anymore, it's being presented as fact. In reality, the only place on the planet Earth where the geologic column actually exists is in the textbooks. It's pure fantasy, and not the kind of fantasy that's like Cloud or Sorwell or Tifa or Mickey Mouse. Mickey's real. I seen him at MGM Studios. Now at this point some of you might be thinking, dude, what's the big deal? It's just a geologic column, it's life, it's whatever, it's in the books, get over it. Alright, now here's my beef with the geologic column, okay? It's been proven wrong lots of times, and if I know this, I know the powers that be that are putting this stuff still in the textbooks, they know it too. Alright, so now there is no debate out there, there's no question that the Earth is made up into layers. My quarrel is the age of these little layers, because that kind of set the whole chain of events into this one focused direction. To put this into English, if you look at each of these layers, there's no erosion marks in between them. If one layer is formed, you figure it would rain once or twice every 10 million years when you wait for the next layer to come on top. There's no erosion marks in between these layers. They stick together like pancakes. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. Who here knows how the tide works? Anybody? Anybody know how the tide works? So here's the Earth, here's the moon. As the moon goes around the Earth, it slowly gets further and further away. It's only like a few inches every year, but basically we're losing the moon. I mean, it's nothing to be all worried about. Nobody needs to go panicking or anything like that. It's probably not going to happen in our lifetime or our kids' lifetime or our grandkids' lifetime. We're losing it very slowly, so no need to panic. Now, here's the thing now. If we bring that moon in a little bit closer, we cause a problem, because the moon is what causes the tide. So if the moon was closer, the tides would be a lot higher. So there's this law in physics called the inverse square law. I bet some of y'all didn't know your boy sWooZie is up on his science game, son. So in theory, if you go back 1 billion years, the moon was so close to the Earth that we would have had these massive tides that drowned everything on the planet every day, twice a day. Which kind of leads me to the final point. The people that write these books know this. A good number of people around know this, but when they have those people going digging for dinosaur bones or whatever, they find petrified trees sometimes. But they find trees buried in the earth. It's no problem. It's pretty common. They find trees. Now, the only problem here is they find petrified trees that stick up through multiple layers of the earth. Each of these layers is supposed to represent tens of millions of years, and you got one petrified tree that's growing up through multiple layers. You know, how long can a dead tree actually stand before it falls over? I mean, how many of you guys seen a dead tree standing up for more than 5 years? But the whole tree thing kind of leads more toward these layers being a few days or maybe weeks or months old. In reality, it would only take really one of these trees to disprove this entire geologic column theory, but they found hundreds of them. They found a good number of those upside down, going through multiple rock layers, kind of what a flood would do. Which is kind of where the good book comes in here. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have seen this at some point. Some of you guys read it regularly, some of you guys have cracked it open once or twice in your life. According to this book, you've got Adam, who is supposed to be the first person on the planet and who was made a few days after the planet was created. They do the whole family tree. They go from Adam begetting this person, Adam dying when he was this age, this person dying when they were that age, that person dying when they were this age, and everybody they gave birth to from Adam to Noah, from Noah to Jesus, from Jesus, pretty much I guess we've started tracking from Jesus till now, and you know, you can add that up and we get a different answer than what we get over here with the geologic column. I'm just saying, you know, add it up. For those of you who want to know, it's there. I'm sure a few of you have one of these in your house. Find it. So there you have it, something to think about, installment number 3. And yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of entertainment on this one. We're just gonna make you guys think, like I said. But I actually have the next 3 videos planned out, and if they all work out because they actually involve other people, let me tell you, you guys are in for some entertainment. That's all I'm saying. You guys are in for a good laugh. Get ready to giggle is all I'm gonna say. Thanks for coming, thanks for joining, thanks for sitting, thanks for watching. See you guys next week.